us for leadership. You got a lot of black women who's in competition with the men inside their household. You got a lot of combatants and a lot of clashing in the black community because these women feel like they are on the same footing as black males, and it's not. We're not telling black women to be on the same footing as us. We telling these black women to be better than us. Live in your shine in your own light. Be the queen that know what I'm saying you know you are. But with this king mentality coming from our queens, it's not going to work.
You know why it's not going to work? It's going to be hard for it to work, or hard for. I mean, change can always happen, and change. You know, change is always. It's always a good time for change. But with based off of our conversation with me and the woman I was speaking to, it's like no matter how you try to break down a scenario, it's the justification. So what I'm saying is, it's like, yo, she tried to point it out. She tried to point out the great grands and this and the third. I said, yo, listen. However you're thinking right now as a 33 or 32-year-old woman is based off of how your mother raised you and how she taught you, as far as how she taught you the game. She only taught you based off of how what she was taught and what she knew. And most of the time it be based off of survival. So they gotta break. Just like we trying to break cycles with as men with our sons. They have to break cycle as women with their daughters on how they're giving them game before they leave the household. Because by the time they leave the household, they already their game is how to finesse men, how to finesse us,
Yeah,
how we ain't
yeah.
shit, how they don't really love you. When that's not true, you don't have to mold them like that because they're already coming out the house looking at the world and men in through your lenses. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
very spiteful.
that's what I'm trying to get them to understand. Now, when it comes to us as men, all I'm telling her is we trying to break the cycle with our sons on how they choose. Don't choose wrong. Know what I'm saying? You don't have to. It's not about the women in your community, your urban community. It's not about, because that's all you know. That's all you grew up under. That's what you went to school with. That's what you went to church with. That's what you grew up with. But it's
Right.
a world outside of that. That's why they say when you get money, you start traveling, you start seeing different. It's a world outside of where you from. Where you from? You start meeting other nationalities, other human beings. Know what I'm saying? Other personalities, and you may like this. That don't necessarily mean that you don't like that, like black women. Know what I'm saying? But they mind frame may be a little bit deeper, intellectual, and a little bit more higher than yours. You may just be low vibration, just based off of your environment that you can't get out of. But until then, we ain't got time to figure that out. The question is, back to the question is like, yo, how would you feel if your son came to you in that same breath and said, look, dad, this is what I'm